I hope you all had a relaxing Christmas and New Year and just maybe got to take a bit of a break. But now, of course, it's back to work. And that means back to work for everyone, including President or President-ish Joe Biden, who, after 4 or 5 weeks of R&R, managed to glue himself together, only to once again fall apart before our very eyes. Here he was at the White House just yesterday, giving some helpful advice on how you out there, any men out there, can have a happy marriage.
I tell every young man who's telling me I'm thinking of getting married or somebody, I said, look, you have any advice? They said, yeah, pick a family with 5 sisters or more. And they look at me, what the hell is that all about? I said, it's really simple. That way one of them always loves you, not the same one. You always have somebody on your side.
Okay, that's some interesting family dynamics there. But of course, you know, while Joe's giving a speech, it's never a Biden speech without the creepy whisper.
And when I started the job, I kept talking about the need for deal with the environment. So we don't have a problem. Anybody think climate's not a problem? Raise your hand. Come on, man. I've been around the world.
Come on, man. He also had his usual problems fighting his greatest foe, the teleprompter.
Americans have filled 16 million new business applications since I became president.
Seriously, when he goes on down this road, I think he actually really needs to spend more time listening to his wife.
If Joe were here, she said, Joe, hush up, boy.
Hush up, boy. That's some good advice for Joe Biden. But anyway, back to the holidays. And again, did you have a good break? Because I hope so. And I know I did, because I took the opportunity to do something that one day might see me up on charges for offenses to the climate. You see, I drove from Sydney to South Australia and back over a couple of weeks. Not in an electric puss box of the sort Joe Biden and Anthony Albanese would prefer we all get around in, but in a great, growling, muscular 5.0-liter V8 that growls with all the enthusiasm and drinks petrol with all the enthusiasm of Frank Sinatra tossing back a pitcher of martinis. It was, in fact, the sort of vehicle noted car enthusiast Joe Biden might have himself once enjoyed tooling around in once upon a time. At least he discovered that his classic Corvette was more useful as a shield behind which to hide classified documents. No, these days Joe Biden has been bitten by the climate bug, which means that he is more of an EV man now, at least when he's not riding around in the presidential limo.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
See it, sir.
You ready?
Mr. President!
This sucker's quick.
But let's check out just how Joe Biden's electrical vehicle fantasy is doing as it, well, collides with reality.
So these drivers came to charge their batteries in the cold, but these charging stations are not working in Evergreen Park. Same story. Take a look at that area right there near 95th and Western. We found several Tesla owners there, stranded with dead batteries from the cold and not enough working charging stations at that location. We talked to a driver here in Oak Brook, where we are, who tried to call Tesla for help and nothing.
Okay, yesterday I was here and there was just lines of cars, but there was only a couple charging working, but it seemed very disorganized, like no one knew what to do, and a lot of people were just led here by their cars. Okay, so they were abandoned, basically.
It looks like off the test track, Joe Biden's beloved electric vehicles aren't so, well, hot. Instead, it turns out that electrical vehicles are not so good in the cold, which is a bit of a problem in places like Chicago, where that clip was just from, and indeed much of North America. But even if not for an everyday driver, surely Joe Biden's beloved electric vehicles, which are going to save the climate, are maybe good for at least a holiday rental, right? Wrong. Last week, Hertz Rent-A-Car revealed that it is going to sell a third of its U.S. electric vehicle fleet and reinvest the funds in, you guessed it, petrol-powered cars due to weak demand and higher repair costs. Gosh, it doesn't really seem like the propaganda we've been told. I mean, we're finding out that EVs are not great in the cold, nobody wants for a rental, and contrary to what their backers claim, they're actually more expensive to run. I wonder how things are going now for that electric Ford pickup that Biden was so keen on.
Latest sign of a slowing demand for EVs. Ford announcing it's reducing production of its F-150 Lightning. For that, we're going to turn to Phil LeBeau this morning. Morning, Phil.
Good morning, Carl. This is Ford announcing on April 1st that it will be cutting its production of the F-150 Lightning, going from 2 shifts, which it currently operates at its Rouge complex just outside of Detroit, where they build the F-150 Lightning. They're going to bring that down to 1 shift starting on April 1st. Some of those workers, about 1,400 impacted, they're going to be transitioned over to additional production for the Bronco and the Ranger. This is, if you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, didn't they just cut their guidance in terms of EV production? Yeah, they did that last month. Basically cut their 2024 production plan in half, and now they are saying we are going to be cutting Lightning production again.
Indeed, these are the same Ford F-150 EVs that Chris Bowen here said were going to save the weekend and the planet at the same time. Well, not so much, because according to Fortune magazine, EV sales in the U.S. are failing to meet expectations, and not even generous subsidies and tax breaks are enough to keep demand going. So, like everything else Biden and the progressive environmental left touch, it turns out that interfering with the market and trying to overthrow proven technology like the internal combustion engine just doesn't pay, as even Joe Biden himself knew once upon a time.
Sounds good. Try your brakes.
They're good.